Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for another daily dose of Dismal Disney. We're going to take a look at what's been revealed for the new Cars land that they are plopping into the middle of Magic Kingdom. A lot of people concerned they're getting rid of Frontierland. On top of it, does not appear to be the case.
No. See, I actually had done an article yesterday, and the way the original art came across and the way it was written, it sounded like the Frontierland is going to be gone. Well, now it seems like it's not the case. The Frontierland's still going to be there, but they're going to have this other like wall kind of thing separating them with trees and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's very confusing. But apparently, instead of this being an area and then the ride being to the right additionally of this image, they're saying that this image is the ride included, I'm assuming, for what people are talking.
Yeah. So we're going to take a look at this and what's been revealed. They're calling it what? Piston Peak? Piston Peak?
It's a national park, and that's their excuse. It's so funny because people were like, how does Cars fit into it, the Frontierland? And people are like, well, Imagineers like, well, because it's about the wilderness. Because if you're riding Big Thunder Mountain, it's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Because it's the wilderness and the spirit of exploration and the frontier being the wilds, that it counts. And I'm like, meanwhile, Walt Disney himself was really, really into the Hawaii frontier idea, Pecos Bill, different things like that, the frontier in general. And that's why it looks like the frontier, not the cars in the frontier.
I am thinking that they took some of the feedback in. Well, we'll talk about
this. Yes, 100%. That's what they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is good. I'll give them that. They did listen somewhat.
Yeah. I'm thinking they took some feedback into consideration, but they're still going to move ahead with putting cars in where Tom Sawyer Island was. As far as we know, we're not going to have the paddle wheeler anymore. It's going to,
Tom Sawyer Island, Rivers of America, and the Liberty Bell, like the boats and stuff, they're shutting down on July 7th.
Yeah.
So July 6th is the last day to be able to be part of any of that, and then it shuts down.
Which is a damn shame because, that's actually one of my favorite quiet things to do at Disney is take a nice slow...
On the boat
ride, yeah.
Yeah, but Tom Sawyer Island, if we're going to be completely fair and honest, I would argue the same as I've said for Muppets Courtyard. People don't go over there very often.
No,
I would say even less than like Muppets because it's all out of the way, and a lot of people don't know it's even there. I don't think they even realize it's there. And to a lot of people, they just want to go ride the rides, and it's so difficult to get on the rides to begin with, and you could be there all day and not get all the rides. You don't want to take the time to go over there and do the exploration. So what they seem to have done with this piece is they did add the waterway back, which people complained about. Yeah. And they did seem to add a lot of activities, like exploration activities, which would be like what was on Tom Sawyer Island, into an area that people actually see and participate in. So I'll give them that.
Yeah, I'll give them that. Let's talk about this. Before you get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Yeah, so this is the I guess the layout here. I know that they made the announcement on let me see, where was it here?
It was on Twitter and Facebook and stuff yesterday.
Yeah. Here's the artwork for it. But yeah, you can see Frontierland, at least the main.
Well, I don't think that's Frontierland. That's actually, I think, are those that Frontierland buildings?
Yeah,
or the facade?
Yeah, it's like Country Bears and stuff.
Because they said what they're gonna do. It's originally, I thought when I saw the article, and I admit that when I wrote the article, I thought originally that they were going to get rid of Frontierland because the way it looked like it was a separate something on top of the ride. But somebody placed it in where it is, and you can clearly see Frontierland is fine over there. So Frontierland is okay. That was my biggest concern. If you're going to get rid of Frontierland, we're going to have issues. They're not. So in that, I'm not, and they put water back in, which don't know why you couldn't just left it on the other side. What in front of the Haunted Mansion, but okay.
Yeah, so
there.
Yeah, this feels like they took some of the feedback in. They're like, okay, well, we can't just like throw, because everybody's like, oh, you're putting cars in, so it's just going to be a big concrete slab in the middle.
That's what they were going to do, dirt ball, whatever.
Yeah, and you can see that here, but it looks like they're actually going to put a lot of trees in, a lot of water in. Which might alleviate.
They're tying the water into the ride there up into Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Even though I still think it's funny because they went and switched it to Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but now the original Splash Mountain would fit better in this theme.
Yeah, I'm looking at that and I'm kind of like, yeah, it kind of would actually. I mean, look, boy, I'm really, because I'm seeing this now and I'm like, I don't like Cars.
I don't think Cars is popular enough to warrant this, but okay.
No, but I'm also like, this isn't terrible, but I don't want it in the middle of Magic Kingdom. Does that make sense? Like, I can look
in Disneyland. It's not. It's not like it's out in California Adventure. It's not in the middle of Disneyland. Like Disneyland's left pretty much what it should have been, what Walt wanted. It's not in the middle of it, and you're wiping out all the rivers of America, which was right in front of the Haunted Mansion. And now it's going to be, they said they're going to put trees or something to block it, but it doesn't look like that's the case in the artwork here. But now your view from the Haunted Mansion is a bunch of dirt and people going ka-chow.
Chow. Oh my God. That's kind of funny, actually. They should make like ghost cars.
Somebody else said it before, but yeah.
They should make like ghost cars.
I'm like, you're trying to listen to the Haunted Mansion spiel and all you hear is ka-chow. And engines revving. It's like, not really. But what it seems to me, okay, I will say, this version is better than what they originally posted.
Yeah.
It ties in. They went and found a way to kind of make it tie in. I still don't think it ties into Frontierland. Sorry. But they kind of tried to find a way to tie it in and tie it to the existing attractions. And they're actually going to take, from my understanding, part of Big Thunder Mountain and some of the spires. They're going to come down. They're going to extend that into this ride, or this ride's going to wrap around some of it. So it's going to combine the land better. And that's cool. And I think adding the water back in is, I wish you left Rivers of America, because I don't see why you're putting water on that side other than Tiana's, why you couldn't have just left the Rivers of America, but whatever. At least they added water back in, because people kept saying water is one of the big things that we loved about it. And they're adding the water feature back in.
Yeah, there's a lot of it too. That's what's really interesting. It's almost like they were just like rerouting the Rivers of America and then throwing some.
But here's what I'm understanding. Well, it has to be just the whole Rivers of America section, because maybe that's a reroute of it, because that Rivers of America should have gone the whole way around the other side too, because that was a circle that used to go around, correct?
Yeah.
Because you can see the water here, they overlaid it. So they're just keeping part of it, but on that side. So I guess in a way, they are keeping some of the Rivers of America, but on that side.
I'm really torn on this now, because I'm like, I hate that we're losing the Liberty Bell. I hate that we're losing the Rivers of America. This isn't. I mean, objectively, this is a nice looking land. I just don't want it in the middle of Magic Kingdom.
Right. For me, since they add the water into it and they're adding the trees, and they said they're going to use trees and stuff to kind of separate stuff out, as long as the Haunted Mansion is separated out. I preferred the water in front of it. It made sense. But I guess the water makes more sense for the Disneyland one than the Walt Disney World one, because it's a bayou building. Yeah. I don't hate it. I worry about the noise level next to the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
But I don't, because it was nice with the riverboat being quiet. It kept it quiet back there.
Yeah, it was a nice,
But I don't hate it, since they did seem to listen, and they did add that kept part of the Rivers of America, or add the waterway in. Because normally you'd walk along that way, which would be that water area. So they must have kept some of it there. And I do think they aren't messing with Frontierland. It'll be okay, because I was really concerned they were going to destroy Frontierland. And if they're not, then that's better. And then I do like the fact they're taking some of the ideas from Tom Sawyer Island, because I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of people are really mad about it, and I've been there. I have been there. I don't think you've ever been there, have you?
I was there before, yeah. It's not something I do. I was there like once.
Was it when we didn't take
when I was down for media? Yeah, I was like bored, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll go to Tom Sawyer Island, because I've done everything else.
Because they want to go ride the rides.
Yeah,
and I've been there before as a kid. And it's just not something people really either know it's there or they bother with.
Yeah,
so I get that.
It's kind of like the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse. Like, it's cool, and it's a throwback to that era of Disney, which is cool. But I'm like,
we don't go on it. We've been on it, but it's not something
we do. It's like, once you do it, it's like it's not something you're going to do on every trip. And most kids today, most adults today, don't even remember Swiss Family Robinson.
No. And the thing is, I get the changes there. And it looks like they're trying to listen to people and bring some of the stuff that they're going to be missing there into this. And I appreciate the fact that they are trying to listen to feedback. Yeah. I still think Cars in the middle of Frontierland is weird.
I think it's very weird. I mean, maybe if they hide it, but I mean, as people pointed out, Walt got after one of the Imagineers. I think it was Marty Sklar, got after him because he parked his car in Frontierland once, and he's like, there are no cars in the Old West.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, there aren't singing, dancing bears.
Yeah,
either. So
I mean, I'm glad that since I did the article yesterday, I haven't had time to update it because I've been so busy. that someone put it in, laid it where in a map, like how it's going to be, and I can see it better. The way they did the art drawing, it kind of was confusing. But it says it's all in one and not two, not both of them, because people were worried that it was this and then it was the ride separate. But you can see the pathways, so I'm assuming the ride's part of it, like they're saying. It's better. It's much better this way. It's still not ideal. They brought water back, or they left water partly there. Still not what I would prefer. No, but it's better than what we were worried about.
Yeah, it's interesting because they're plopping cars in the middle. Again, this is a very weird choice, especially given the relative lack of popularity right now and the fact that these are.
Well, there's a movie coming out in a couple of years.
Okay, so of course there is. So we got,
and this is one of Bob Iger's whole go-to is slap IP in it, especially if it's been IP that was there when I've been here. And I think Cars was one of his first ones, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Or was that Pixar before they bought it? Was that Pixar before they bought it?
It was, what was it, 2006? So that would have been.
Well, it was his acquisition.
It was his acquisition. But the weird thing about that is Cars is very much John Lasseter's thing. Mm-hmm. Like it's,
I never got it. It's Doc Hollywood with animation Cars.
I know. Actually, it's so weird. It was one of the first movies I took Squid King to go see. He was little. I mean, he was, toddler, went to go see it. And
it's like 3.
He was like, he got bored.
He had to leave because he was like, this sucks.
He's like, to this day, I've still never watched the whole thing. Now, I hated the second one. I thought it was dumb. The third one actually wasn't terrible. I didn't hate
I only watched part of the first.
It was rocky.
The first one. And I never watched any other ones because I didn't care. I didn't like it.
And actually, this guy here kind of looks like John Lasseter. Anyway, he's a good luck with that. So I was talking to Pinky Boo about this yesterday, and she's really upset about Muppets Courtyard, and she's upset about this, and I'm like,
but she's not, because she's not a boomer.
But she's like, why didn't they? Since they just keep adding Pixar, why didn't they just make a whole new Pixar park and just put all the Pixar stuff in one park?
Well, they have a bunch of Pixar stuff. It's Hollywood Studios, which is what in Disneyland is Disney California Adventure.
And this looks like this looks very much like something that belongs in California Adventure. It does.
Yeah, but they're not. They're putting it in Magic Kingdom.
And that's the problem. Like, I don't hate it. I hate where it's at. Does that make sense?
Yes. And that's what I said, before. Like, what's next? Tomorrowland's going to be Elio World. And I think
only if it does well at the box office.
It's not tracking to do well at the box office. A lot of people didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
Here's the issue. It's like, I know this is completely a reaction Epic Universe is what this is. Because every Epic Universe, they have different lands that are themed to IP. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're announcing this, and they're going to, combine it into Tiana's Bayou Adventure and into Big Thunder Mountain and all this stuff to try to make it all one cohesive Cars area too. I think it's all a reaction Epic Universe. And I don't know if it's a good reaction, but again, at Disneyland, they didn't do this to Frontierland. They put it someplace else. Here they're going to make it Frontierland.
Yeah. And I mean, I thought it was dumb to put Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland too. I thought that was a very weird choice. But it's just Bob Iger. He just like plops whatever.
Well, they don't have as much room over there either, but they have lots of room at Disney World.
Yeah. Yeah. They could have, I mean, they're doing
added as a separate land to another part of the park.
They're doing everything they can do to not build a fifth gate. Mm-hmm. Is what they're doing. They're adding to their other parks. In a lot of ways, they're taking massive wrecking balls to their other parks. See also Epcot. But they're doing everything they can do without adding a fifth gate. I'm like, all you're going to do is if you add more attractions like the e-tickets to Magic Kingdom is already unbearably busy. You just increase. I mean, maybe the thought process is we can eat up some of the crowds. You'll actually.
No, the thought process is that's more money for Lightning Lane, individual Lightning Lane, all day Lightning Lane. That's more money we'll get on Lightning Lane. That's what their thought is.
It's Lightning Lane McQueen.
Yeah.
So the reactions on X are not good. People are pissed.
It's mixed. I've been seeing it mixed. It's a lot of people are like, "This is the best thing ever," and a lot of people are like, "This is really stupid." It was funny though. One person was like, not on X, but another place, they're like, wow, it's because they found a way to tick off all the Republicans again. And I was like, wait, being mad about them ruining Frontierland is not just a Republican thing.
No.
I was like, you're literally going to try to politicize this now.
Yeah, I mean, I could have seen them if the Lone Ranger movie had done well, like reskinning Frontierland, maybe for that. But yeah, it's got to have some tie to IP. Just Cars is just a weird damn choice. This person here, Arcade Warrior, says biggest L in Disney Parks history, and that's coming from a Cars lover. Move it to another location.
Old Imagineers are not happy with it. They've all spoken out against it.
That's
the thing. This is a little bit better. This is a little better than the original, but still,
it's better. But look. The whole idea is terrible. I think it's a terrible idea. And I don't think the land itself does not look bad. Like, I mean, that would actually, I would be okay if they plop that in the other side of Hollywood Studios or something. Maybe when they get rid of Indiana Jones, put that over there. That would make sense, because you'd be like,
they did keep some of the water, like for Rivers of America water on the one side, so there's, that's good, but it's just, I don't know. I guess I'll just see it. If they can combine it well enough, then maybe, but I don't understand why you have to make everything IP based. That was what was great, because you had some IP stuff, but you had a lot of original things. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, and people are mad too. They're like, oh, they're going to start, closing things down immediately. I mean, they are. That's kind of what happened with Epcot too, with Ellen's Energy Adventure.
Construction walls for years because of the pandemic.
Here's the thing. It takes Disney 5 years to build a damn roller coaster. How many years is it going to take them to get this whole land? I mean, how long? As soon as this is another reason too, like, not to touch it, right? As soon as they get done with one project in the Magic Kingdom, they move on to something else, and it's incredibly disruptive. Fantasyland was incredibly disruptive. New Fantasyland. It
was for a long time. And while this one looks like it's, since they're keeping the water on one side, it's just going to be like, most of the construction is not going to be interfering, I think, with the park too much, because it's basically areas that were filled with water or that had Tom Sawyer Island. So unless you're planning to go to Tom Sawyer Island, I do not think it's going to interfere. But they are having Big Thunder Mountain. It's going to be shut down to next year too, because they're adding new stuff. So probably like the effects they have at Disneyland or something.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't ruin it and make it like Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Now all the cars have eyeballs.
Oh my God!
Choo Choo Magoo and his friends, and we're gonna go on,
Yeah, that's the name of the train, is Choo Choo Magoo. Let's all go for a ride on Choo Choo Magoo.
Well, it's probably one of the cars. There probably have other ones that are named something else, like, I don't know, Big Bomb Boy or something. I don't know. But
Big Bomb Boy, Big Balls.
Because they have the explosions of TNT, like Timmy TNT or something, and they all have like big googly eyes on the cars.
Oh my God! Just put googly eyes on everything. Just put googly eyes on everything. Yeah, bring the riverboat back. Put googly eyes on it.
When they do that, someone should go around with googly eyes and just stick it on everything and be like,
just put
there you
googly
go.
eyes on everything.
You're gonna go in fully.
I would laugh if they just took Tomorrowland Speedway and they just made that cars and they just put googly eyes on the existing cars.
Well, people said, why couldn't you just put this ride there? Because Tomorrowland Speedway doesn't fit in Tomorrowland anyway.
Well, I have to wonder if this isn't going to be a replacement, though. I have to wonder if they're not going to do this and then they're going to take the Tomorrowland Speedway out and put something in. I don't know.
Well, they have to put something else in. They can, I don't know. But it's just, we'll see what happens. But Big Thunder Mountain's going to be down until next year. They have Tiana's, though.
I hate that. It's constant construction. Like, I mean, I get, okay, fine. I get that, you want to freshen things up, whatever. And I hate this decision, just in general. I hate this decision. I hated the Splash Mountain decision, but whatever. Okay, beyond the fact of whether or not you like the creative decisions, right? It's disruptive. It's disruptive to the theme park experience. For people that only get to go once every few years, they get to go and deal with construction walls and noise and dust and dirt.
And we're having it. You were having it here. We're going to have it at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, because
they're taking Dinosaur out and making it Tropical Americas. And there's been a lot of constructions across the board. So
yeah, I don't even know anymore. Like, nothing's sacred at Disney. Now, I think they're gonna gut it over at Disneyland? No, because here's the
Disneyland alone.
I can tell you what the thought process is. Nothing in Magic Kingdom is sacred because it's not Walt's Park. Walt's Park is Disneyland. They're going to leave a lot of things alone in Disneyland because it's part theme park, part museum. Really. So a lot of stuff over there, they're not going to touch, but they have no qualms over here touching it, fingering
it all up. Yeah, over Hollywood Studios are construction too because of the Monsters Inc. and stuff. So like, only park that's not under construction right now is Epcot.
Yeah, and they already destroyed Epcot. So
I mean, it's not. Oh no, but they have Test Track, but it's just a reskin. It's not really. So technically, all the
yeah.
parks have something being changed.
And the thing is that everybody's like, I mean, yeah, like Disney enthusiasts are like, yeah, this breaks my heart. I'm not coming after 30 plus years of memories, whatever. It's not my Disney. But normies are still gonna go as long as the money
No,
keeps
a lot
on.
of them are loving it. They're like eating this up. They're like, this is great.
Yeah.
That's great. And I'm gonna tell you flat out, I'm still not keen on it either. But this looks way better than what they originally were gonna do. To their credit, they left part of the waterway in, and they're listening. I was worried that it was Frontierland was gonna be gone because the way the artwork looks, it looks kind of like where they put like things in the distance and make them look, that's how it looked. But when they actually place it into where it's gonna be. And they said they were going to have trees and stuff and that to try to kind of separate this area from Frontierland and Haunted Mansion. It isn't as bad because it's an area just kind of basically it's just where the Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island was. Everything else is going to pretty much stay as it is. So it's an unused area and they're keeping part of the waterway. And people said, well, don't take all the waterway out. So they didn't. So they listened. And since it's going to be someplace that's really kind of not it's an area that isn't going to be where stuff is now, I'm not as upset about it as I was. Now that I know this is not going to wipe out Frontierland and that, I'm not as still think water in front of Haunted Mansion's better. That I'm concerned about. But I'm better with this now.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll do. I mean, they always do try to hide it, when you're going from one land into another a little bit. So they'll probably have some, facing Haunted Mansion, they'll probably have something maybe that hopefully it ties into it. It's just the principle of the thing. I think people are just like, nothing's sacred at Disney anymore. It's all IP. And this is a very weird thing. A very weird, like I said, I'm looking at this objectively as a theme park connoisseur. And I'm like, I don't hate this land. I just don't want it in the middle of Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I don't like that they're doing it either, but I'm just saying it's like a lot of unused area right now, so it's not really going to impact the other parts of the park too much unless they go around and change Thunder Mountain, to make it combined with it. But
Choo Choo Magoo.
Yeah, just like they also add Choo Choo Magoo.
Don't give them ideas.
We're good, but I just don't hate. I actually am more okay with it today than I was yesterday. Now that I know where it's being placed, and then they kept the water, and they are listening. And a lot of people who said they were really against it before, when they saw they were leaving the waterway in part way and some other stuff, they said, okay, I'm a little better with it now than I was before, because they did make some changes I'm a little bit better with. They kind of did compromise. So to their credit, they listened. They aren't going to stop because they already decided and they already announced it. So they're not going to walk it back. But, and objectively, as somebody who's not a theme park connoisseur, well, I am a theme park connoisseur, but I am an old head. Looking at it as other people would look at it, they're going to be like, oh, this is great, because they're younger and it doesn't mean as much to them.
Yeah, well, and this is Epcot enthusiast here on Twitter is trying, because people are like, what's the big deal? I don't get it. And he's like, if you're not a Disney fan, a longtime Disney fan, you're not going to understand. And I think for me, what makes me sad, just in general, and the reason that we cover so much of this is like, you have no idea. If you're a casual and you haven't listened to us for a very long time, you think we just like to dunk on Disney because we like to dunk on Disney and haha, isn't it funny? And wokies. No, Disney means a lot to our family. It has for a very long time. It was a huge part of our lives, both recreationally, personally, and professionally, because we worked in and around the company for a number of years and different capacities. And, between the two of us, we have logged, so much time into Disney parks, and it literally was our full-time job for many years. And just to see the, I guess, lack of respect for, the legacy of like, you can add, but they're not adding, they're taking away more and more.
But are they though? Because I mean, it's like, this is where I'm at now, because it's what they're taking away is not all of Rivers America. It doesn't look like, which is good, because people said leave some of it, which I wish they'd leave the whole thing, because the boat was really cool. And I still don't understand why you can't have the water around that side. But Tom Sawyer Island, which I know a lot of people were really upset about, but honestly, objectively speaking, a lot of people didn't go there and it was wasted space. So it really isn't taking away anything else. I mean, I'm worried about the noise level, and I'm worried about how it's going to impact like Haunted Mansion and the rest of Frontierland. But if they can find a way to address that, for me, it's not a deal breaker, and I can kind of see both sides of the argument on that one. But I really understand why people are really mad about it. I get it completely.
Yeah, no, I get it completely too. So Anyway, I think we're gonna wrap this one up.
Yeah.
There we go, guys. What do you think? I mean, it's been incredibly polarizing. A lot of people not okay with it. Normies are probably gonna eat it up.
I'm worried about the art. They always show like this dust and everything, and it's like I don't want to. I'm hoping that they're not actually gonna have like all this dust blow up and everything else, because that's not gonna work.
I think that's what the water might be there to kind of tamp down on that. Well, plus, yeah, you gotta realize it's gotta rain every damn day in Florida anyway.
That's true. So they're not gonna be able to keep dust on it like that anyway.
No, I think it's gonna be a track very much like cars in California.
It looks like it, yeah.
Faux dust, not pixie dust, but yeah. I mean, normies are gonna eat it up. They're gonna think it's great, and kids are gonna go, and they're not gonna know any different.
I just don't understand when you already have a Cars Land and there's something like this over at Disneyland, and it was basically their version of Test Track. Why you need this here too? I don't understand.
You already
done
answered the
something
question.
else.
More e-tickets, more lightning
That's what I
lane,
think it is.
More
About money.
Car merchandise, because they're gonna be like, now we have.
Yeah, because car merchandise always sold, even though people didn't like the movies.
Yeah, because it was cool. It was like a car with googly eyes. So they got more popcorn buckets. They can sell cars popcorn buckets. They can sell photo ops. They probably have a little restaurant over there somewhere or something.
Like the V8.
Like the V8, yeah. Yeah. So
but
I
it's
mean,
going to be themed to like the national park theme. But the argument on that is hilarious to me. It's still Frontierland adjacent because it's the wilderness with cars. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay. That's how
they're
going to spin
do
it.
Yeah, yeah. So they're gonna have two attractions there, and they're not gonna be clones. They're gonna be Frontierland's gonna be intact mostly.
Okay, that's what I was worried about yesterday. The way it read, the way it looked like they were gonna take Frontierland out for this new a park on top of the ride, and I was like, oh hell no. But now that I'm seeing it, it's not as bad as I originally worried. It's still not the best, but it's much better than what they originally said they were going to do. They did improve it massively and listen to people's feedback. So there's that.
I am really torn on this because I actually like the look of the land, but I don't think it belongs Magic Kingdom. Plop right down the middle.
I just don't think it works from next to Frontierland. I mean, I guess if it's its own separate thing, but
it feels like this should have been in California Adventure. Actually, I'm kind of wondering if they didn't come up with this idea as, like, oh, let's do Cars Land, but we're not going to do Radiator Springs. We're going to do something that is more ties to, California than, I don't know. Because this would have gone along with, Grizzly Peak and everything else.
Well, that's what I was thinking. It looks like Grizzly Peak more than it does, the Cars Land, but yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, whatever. It's not our decision to make. They want to do it. I think I'm going to be honest. I mean, this is just like a lot of other things. It's like, Disney purists and old heads like us, we're going to hate it. But like all Disney cares about at the end of the day is normies. The normies.
Well, now that I know that it's not taking out Frontierland, I'm kind of like, I can see both sides.
Yeah.
I know you're just adamant. No. I'm adamant. I'm not thrilled, but I can see why they're doing it, and I can see where it might work.
I don't like where it's at, but I don't hate the idea. I just really don't like where it's at. Does that make sense?
So anyway, yes.
Okay. All right.
Let's wrap this up now, finally.
Let's wrap it up finally. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.